So Jan, the upright piano, let's look at it and kind of give a basic overview for the audience of what the interior of the piano looks like, if you don't mind.
Well, basically, we start with a key, and the key is like a level, and it has a middle bridge that you push down, and it will make the weapon go up and push the hammer with the shank and then hit the string and repeatedly. So you have several parts to make this function and without getting any kind of flaw or lost motion on it. On a studio console piano, it takes a little bit more effort than a grand piano because you have more parts to make it work, versus a grand piano works with more like gravity, so it takes less parts. So we got the tuning pins. This is the cast iron plate, goes all the way down.
Are most of the pianos today with the cast iron plates?
Yes, yeah. Yes they are. They're full covered. So then you go all the way down, and you have your lower bridge. You can see the very end of the cast iron goes all the one, which makes the structure of the piano very steady. So in any move, they will not really come apart on you. So very important to keep always the piano on one level place and away from any sunlight or any draft or against any big window. Trying to get also away from the a major AC vent or a heater in the house.
So variations in temperature and sunlight.
Okay. Even though they're closed, they can still absorb all these changes from the back, from behind. So then you got this called the action assembly, which is what holds all the hammers and moving parts. So basically, it's a very complex instrument as far as parts goes. Most parts are equal, cut, but the springs from one side to another side they get thicker because they had to compensate for the size of the hammers. So on the upper they're smaller, on the left are bigger. So the springs that they're going to be used on this section, mid to the left, the springs are going to be more aggressive.
And do different piano manufacturers manufacture that differently for tone or tonality, or is it all basically the same type of structure?
It's the same basic structure. Okay. They had tried to do some different actions on past, just to marketing wise.
Sure.
They're trying to do something different, but they always come back to the traditional way. Yes, which is.
So I know that some parents think that their child, as they're learning to play, they're banging on the keys, that they're going to damage the piano. Is that something they need to think about?
You can put some kind of a pressure on keys, but at the same time you're taking a risk of damaging. An extremely sudden impact could really break some the piano. It's made for playing hard, but it's also made to play very gently and soft.
Sure.
Beyond that point, you have to be careful. Not
and
to
maintain.
Really, yes.
Jan, there were, of course, here in Houston we had problems with flooding. So can you talk a little bit about that as well? What you've seen in damaging, and what happens to a piano once it's immersed in water?
Surprisingly, before when I started, pianos were more like what we call a lacquer finish, not polyester like this. Lacquer finishes were more vulnerable to get more damage. For some reason, nowadays the polyester finish can withstand an amount of water flood if it drops out of it quick, because what they do is it's like a dip, and it's not like a painting. So the wood is concealed. Let's say like it's just completely concealed, so the water just doesn't get into the wood that easy. So I've seen pianos where they got 3 feet of water, and the water receded in in 2 hours, and the piano still
And
together.
no damage.
No damage.
to the soundboard.
No damage. They do apply some kind of a lacquer or protective, and it's not like the old piano. They can really be
New
different.
technologies.
Yes.
Right. And Jen, talk a little bit about the finish. So, someone in their home has a beautiful upright or a grand with this type of a finish. How do they maintain the cabinet itself? What do you suggest?
On a polyester finish like this, it's good to have it clean. Special solutions you can get off the market, or you can home do it yourself, like mix a little bit of water and a small amount of clear ammonia. Or in years to come, to bring back the luxury of the piano, you can apply the best wax you can find.
A car wax?
A car wax, works very good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's applied the same way, gently, and you can rub off, and you bring back the shine.
No, and the scratches and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Because you also do that. I know that you've gone
Yes.
out to some homes where they're moving, or something dropped on the piano, or water stains and things like that.
Yeah.
You were able to correct those problems as well.
Yeah, the most difficult thing to repair on a polyester is a nick, what we call it. Something like it dropped on the finish, and it took a piece of the protective polyester. That's very complex to repair. But to polish up and to take hairline scratches from time with time, you put your cloth, you put your books, and they just get dull. Just a way to, on polyester, you can still buff that out.
Perfect. And Jen, so do you also reconstruct pianos as well?
Yes. Yeah.
For example, someone had a piano, say they want to build it, and you can actually go out and build it for build it with the parts that you need and so
Yes.
forth. Yeah.
It always come to the balance situation versus to really invest. Of course, once you want to invest, it's because it belongs in the family.
Sure.
And yes, we can do that. Parts are still available for that, and all sorts of things. But to put on the balance, on my honest point of view, it's either that let go while you have, and just get something that is going to go for the next generation with no problem, or because no matter how much you invest on rebuilding a piano completely, you still got to use the main carcass to build over it. So it's just not a
bones. We said the good bones, right? Good. Great. Anything else you'd like to tell the audience a little bit about, maybe maintenance or what they're looking at on the upright? Because we're going to move to the grand piano as well.
Yeah, on basically it's simple. It's a piano that it's like let's say when you buy something new that you want to take care of it, you don't want to have it abuse of it, so you want to put it in a place where it's away from harmful sunlight or harmful temperatures, and hands that they can play good, and some hands that can be kind of too heavy. So by playing too much, too fast, and too strong is good, but also it takes a lot of tear and wear on the piano. So the console piano was more designed for home gathering and practice, not as much as a performance piano.
Performance piano.
Yes.
Right.
So beyond that, pianos can last easy 70 years.
Yeah, they sell. Most of the pianos are sold with a warranty of 10 years now.
Yes.
Some parts. So Jen, one of the things that we hear from customers with the new pianos is the issue of a sticky key. It seems to be like the hot button where they call, and then of course they call you and say, it seems like the key is not correct. Can you just kind of walk us through a little bit of why that happens and what the symptoms are and how to fix it?
On most pianos, when they're new, between the store and the house, they go through a small process of a temperature change. And once they get to the house, they want to get back to the same setting on the store. And when that, in that period of time, the keys will sometimes get sluggish. And I'll show you. For example, we're going to take this key here. And you can see there is red felt on the top and a bigger red felt on the bottom here. When this felt gets a little bit spongy because the humidity, it doesn't move like it should, and that's what you get. Basically, you
The sticky key.
Yes.
Okay.
On the new piano, it's a 90% rolling piano when it goes to that. It's very simple to take care of it. It's not a big job. Very simple. On the piano that is possibly over 10 to 15 years older, is usually the sluggishness comes from the whippings that holds the whole shank where the hammer is attached. There's a brass pin holding that entire part, and then it just gets sluggish. And it gets sluggish to the point that it is almost has the same symptoms as a sticky key, but it's just the hammer going back slow. So on the new piano, most problems are going to be on the keys because they're just more exposed to the temperature. Once you open up the front, you expose the new felt, while the rest is just closed. So there's not really much of a contact with the interior.
Are there parts that need to be replaced? Like you said, for example, maybe some of the felt underneath because of the sticky key. Do you replace any of those parts? No.
It's very simple. It's just it really is a matter of 10 minutes. You know, it takes more time taking the boards off than really doing the repair.
Okay.
It's just small adjustment.
And what about sound? Anything in the sound issues? Sometimes they're more of a metally sound, or
yes.
Yeah.
The metal sound is because sometimes we can there's 3 strings per hammer. So when one of those 3 is out, it makes like a metallic sound. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we confuse it by a foreign piece lingering, but it's not. It's just the string. One of the 3 of them had just gone out, and then makes the other 2 sound bad. So it's just basically tuning what it needs.
Tuning.
Yes,
okay.
Tuning will take care of that.
So Jan, when someone is looking at a piano and they're looking, let's say, their first piano, or they want to buy a piano for their child, some of the things that they should look for, what do you think they should be looking at a piano, aside from a price or a brand?
Well, if they're going to buy a piano from individual, mm-hmm. Well, they should ask the previous owner to see they have any kind of background log on how many times it's been tuned. As usually some customers do write down the dates, and they keep pretty well. Also, you can look at the discoloration on the keys to see that tells you also if it's being exposed to extreme temperature changes. Also, you can look at the hammer ends where it strikes the string, and if you really see a lot of indentions or marks from the string itself, you have to consider that it may have some, we call it manage, or it has some use. A piano that gets used like a teacher's piano, they somehow on top of the keys you see a little bit of hair lines of felt on top of it, because the more you use, the more they like shed, so they will be over the keys. That's one sign to know is it, but mainly is the hammer.
Hammers.
The hammer will have marks on it.
Okay. That would be on a used piano, let's say, maybe perhaps from an individual.